Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips on how to minimize risk when you're selling your home and how to make sure that you have a smooth transaction from start to finish. But before we get started, my name is Eleah Sims and I'm part of the Gateway Realty team here in Melfort, Saskatchewan. If you are interested in learning more about buying and selling real estate, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. So selling your home can be a bit of a daunting task, especially if you've never gone through the process before. I know that it can feel overwhelming. You're not even sure where to start. So tip number one is going to be hire a professional realtor. And I know what you're thinking, oh, it's just because you sell real estate. Of course, you're gonna want people to hire realtors, but I'm going to explain to you why it's so important that you hire a professional realtor when you're selling your home. So just like anything, you can definitely, there's things that you can do on your own without hiring a professional. For example, you could do some electrical work in your home without hiring an electrician. And I'm sure you could wire in a light and maybe it would even appear that it turns on properly and everything seems to be working. But if you were to wire that light incorrectly, there could be a short circuit. There could even be a complication that could cause a fire down the road. And the same goes with selling real estate. So you certainly can sell a home on your own without hiring a realtor. But there are things that you can miss if you haven't sold a home before or you don't really know a lot about real estate. And there's things that you could do to sort of make the transaction a lot smoother. And hiring a realtor is really going to help you with that because they've done this so many times that they have the knowledge and they have the expertise and they just know, they have the steps all figured out and everything just goes so smooth when you hire a professional realtor. So that is going to be my number one tip because it is seriously so important, and many of the tips actually fall into that category as well. So number two is to price your home right. So again, if you have a realtor hired, they're going to help you with this. They're going to bring comparables to show you of properties that are similar to your home. They have similar specs. They have, had same neighborhood or, just all of the same things. And they're going to give you a current price in the market that is today to help you to list the home so that it sells right away. So you don't want to price your home too high because this is just going to deter buyers. And oftentimes what happens is that the house just sits for so long that it becomes a stale listing, and that can be very frustrating when you're trying to sell your home because you have to continue showing the property. So you could be having steady showings and yet nobody seems to be writing any offers or really getting serious about buying. And so you're doing all of this cleaning up of your house, tidying up, if you have pets, you're trying to get the pets out of your house so that you can have it all ready to show, and then nothing comes from it. And so a lot of times that is because it's maybe overpriced. So you want to price your home right so that it actually sells right away. So tip number three is to complete your property disclosures. So there's a form that you're going to fill out when you list your home with a realtor. And this is going to have a whole list of questions about the property. And it basically goes over the history of the property in your ownership, and then anything that was disclosed to you when you purchased the home. And so our idea is that it's best to be as honest as you can possibly be. So anything that has happened or anything that you're aware of, you want to disclose those things because it's going to set the buyer at ease. They're going to trust you and they're going to feel that this is a property that they can pursue because the seller has been upfront with them. Say there were some issues, but they were all fixed. These are things that a buyer is going to want to know and will really appreciate being made aware of. We have seen a situation where something wasn't disclosed and the buyer actually did take legal action against that seller because there was water seepage and the seller never told them about it, and then they ended up having problems with it after they purchased the home. And so you definitely don't want something where a buyer's coming after you once the property is sold, because that is going to be a really big headache for everybody. So tip number 4 is to complete a pre-listing house inspection. Now, we don't really recommend this for every seller. Honestly, it would be more if you were a person that wanted to really get ahead of the game, and you weren't interested in getting an accepted offer and then potentially something coming up when the buyer gets the home inspection. So you just want to get ahead of it. You want to hire the home inspector yourself and make sure that everything is out in the open. And if there were some things that came up, you could even fix those things before you even list the property. And then all of those things would be completed and there would really be no surprises at all for when the buyer comes along. So tip number 5 is be cautious with offers. So you want to make sure when you receive an offer to purchase that you go through this offer, all of the terms, all of the conditions, really, really closely. You want to sit down with your realtor and they will help you assess the offer and make sure everything is favorable for you. And another thing is that you want to make sure that you have a high enough deposit. So the deposit on an offer is security for you as the seller. So if the buyer decided to walk away from the sale after conditions were removed, then you would then get to keep that deposit amount. So a higher deposit is obviously going to deter buyers from walking away from the sale. And we have seen this happen, and it's really unfortunate. And then, the seller has the property off the market for a period of time, and then they have to relist it and remarket it and all of these things. So it's definitely not something that you want to happen, but a higher deposit can, increase the chance of everything just going through and working out. And number 6 is to ensure proper documentation. So your realtor will take care of this as well. They're going to have a file with all of the documents pertaining to your home and offer to purchase and all of these things. And another thing is really, really good to keep track of, any conversations that were between the buyer, just because if there was ever a dispute or a disagreement, then there's record of all of these conversations and things can usually get dealt with fairly easy. So these are the steps or the tips that will help you with selling your home smoothly and without, with managing the risks that could be involved with selling your property. So if you guys have any questions at all about selling your home, I would be more than happy to answer them. Just leave them in the comments below and I can answer any questions that you have about selling a home or even buying a home. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and I'll see you next week.